Last time in episode 14, I showed you the rhythm of Manila today. The chaos, the tiny joys, their everyday beauty. I've lived in New York for 30 years. Long enough to forget where I came from. And long enough to miss the Philippines like hell. This time I want to slow it all down. See the Philippines the way my father painted it. Yep, this is my dad. Federico Aguilar Alcuaz. Painter, legend. Low-key a menace with a brush. And yeah, I'm his son. Also an artist. They call him a legend here. One of the country's greats. But that's not why I'm telling this story. But I'd be lying if I said it didn't matter. I don't really talk much about him outside of my family. Maybe that's why this felt important. To look back not only as a son, but as someone trying to understand what stays. And what time gently lets go. See that? That's the former Manila Hilton. My father lived there. I lived there 2 years with him. Right here. What does a painter do who lives alone and has made a name for himself in Manila? He checks into the Manila Hilton. The bed is always made, meals just appear, and the outside world stays outside. 5 years ago, under new ownership, a fire gutted the place. What's left is barely a shadow of what it once was. Yo, it was like a dream come true. If you like club sandwiches and beige carpets. People ask what it was like living in a hotel. Like I'm supposed to say it was glamorous, tragic, or both. But really it was just my dad doing what worked. Yeah, he could afford it. But more than that, it was how he kept the noise out. The dishes, the shopping, all of it, gone. No distractions, no laundry, no weird neighbors asking if he got their mail. Just paint, sleep, repeat. Genius? Yup. Good stories? Always. But here's the part that kinda sucked. People look at you and expect the remix, the rerun, like, oh cool, you're the sequel. But I wasn't chasing imitation. The only real downside of growing up in that world? Getting put in a box that other people built for you.
I'm sorry, Scott.
It's velvet lined and very flattering, but still a box. What the hell? That's why New York made sense. It's chaotic, yeah, but it lets you disappear. Nobody cares who your father was. Just whether your noise cuts through. Punk isn't just leather jackets and bat tattoos. It's freedom from the script.
An economic system which offers the option of starting over.
Every day from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. he painted. No exception. That was it. That was his schedule. That kind of discipline sticks with you. My dad had his hands in everything. These tapestries, he'd laid out a fabric, mapped the design, send it off to industrial machine first. It'd be flattened, then stitched over to lock everything, finalizing the piece. Seeing it here in a museum, under spotlights, I don't think he himself ever saw them displayed like that. To many of these are the favorite works of him. I tend to agree, a bit. But hey, I'm his son. I'll try not to be too easy, so I will talk about his portraits. My dad's portraits at the National Museum, those are something else. I just love the micro stories within them. Imagine legendary comedian Dolphy walking into the studio dressed like that. His process, it started fast, just a few quick lines, like calligraphy, confident, loose, and then it would shift into something more abstract, expressive, even wild. Colors flying, arms moving. But always, he came back to the face. That's where the intensity lived, in the eyes. It's not just about how you see someone, it's how they see you back. It's presence, it's tension, sometimes defiance, sometimes grace. This ain't some tribute film, it's not only about him. It's also about me. Dragging pieces of him behind me, I built something that's mine. I'm not in his shadow, but I'm not pretending I wasn't shaped by the man either. The way he turned chaos into color, yeah, that stuck. Stuck with me in the streets of Brooklyn. Would have been cool to show these to him. I think he would have liked it. What stuck with me watching my dad's work is how the gaze pulls you in. The face, the backdrop, the way the subject and the viewer start talking to each other without words. But my clearest memory of him, it wasn't in the paintings. It wasn't the places we sat. The drinks we shared. Sip Stoli tonic, some Miguel beer, and chill out all night. These were our places where my dad and I would sit. They still have the same dim lighting, the same slow jazz, the same staff in crisp uniforms. It was great, sure, but this was his everyday. Nobody can keep that up day after day. Except him. But I miss these nights hanging out with him. When I left Manila, I knew I wouldn't be back for a long time. That really sucked. But he said I didn't owe him anything. My father had this saying. He said it often. The spring cannot be higher than the source. It sounds so martial arts.
Emotional content.
No matter how far you flow, no matter how much you create, your strength can only rise from the foundation you came from. Sit by the river, he'd say, watch the tiny waves. Unless you've truly absorbed what's in front of you, you can't capture its essence. You can't paint what you haven't seen, but once you see it truly, the brush moves on its own. The way my dad painted, it came off chill, like he was teaching Tai Chi or something. But don't get it twisted. You dedicate your entire life to this, just to make it look effortless. My thoughts on the portraits at the National Museum? It's different coming from America. He painted them the way Filipinos see each other. No caricatures, no flattening, just men as they were. Not overlooked or made into side characters in someone else's story. And yeah, that kind of respect, it does hit different. Because round here, Filipino men usually don't get this kind of shine. Unless you're being a breakdancer or a DJ or something like that. Not that that ain't good. But here, these men are straight up icons. Every one of them deserves a biopic. So yeah, it felt fresh. But part of me is like, is this real? Or is my New Yorker brain just short-circuiting on actual dignity? Maybe this is just normal when you grow up in the Philippines. Probably not. Being in Manila again, and seeing it through his eyes and mine, side by side, it taught me something simple and deep. I'm standing on the ground he gave me. But he never wanted me to follow in his footsteps anyway. He just wanted me to walk with my eyes open. This is the oldest Chinatown in the world. And coming from New York, where we got 4, I always have to come here. The roasted meats, the mooncakes, the clatter of traffic in Tagalog. It's kind of energy that gets under your skin. A city buzzing like an amp turned way too loud. That Manila noise, kind of punk if you squint. Makes you wonder what Manila looked like when my dad was growing up. He always said it was so nice.
Joy, happiness for everyone. A time for pledging old friendships anew, or a time to make new ones.
Once he moved back to Manila again, he never looked back on his years in Europe, that's for sure. No need to conquer the art world anymore. That was his own. Besides, Asian artists don't conquer the canvas, they vanish into it. He spoke endlessly about art, just not in the ways you'd expect. You had to listen between the lines, or better yet, become a part of the painting yourself.
And you blow it up.
My father in his later years in Manila, he let the silence do the talking.
How does it stay then? How does it stay?
Nothing, it just stays like that.
Outside of Coron, Palawan feels like a held breath. Something about the light, the stillness, time slows down. He never came here, but I think he would have understood it. The way silence carries its own weight, the way colors don't shout, they hum. My dad never went to Palawan. He were alive today, he'd be painting in the studio in Manila.
Barbaro. This rito magsaysay ho, di artist.
Like,
My dad lived at the crossroads during his time. Filipino, Chinese, Japanese, Spanish, American. Basically the original Woodside Queens. Just with more mangoes. With the same subway delays. But what he made wasn't a fusion. It was something that could only come from here, from this soil, from this gaze. In the end, it's all about where you're rooted. When you start walking your own path, you realize the past doesn't hold you back. It pushes you forward. It's not about what you keep or what you let go. It's about knowing what matters. I'm my own person. I've built my own way. I went looking for my dad's Manila and found mine. But none of it would have happened without him. So this is me saying thanks. Not dramatic, just true. Thanks for watching. Alright, that's episode 15. If it hit, you know what to do. Likes, shares, all that. It helps more than you think. Appreciate you. See you next time.